Former President Donald Trump has been indicted for the third time. This time he has been indicted for his alleged role in attempting to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. The two previous indictments had to do with his handling of classified documents and the alleged hush money payments he paid to Stormy Daniels and other adult film actresses. Now, this indictment has to do again with his role in attempting to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. And he has been charged by the Justice Department with 4 specific charges, or 4 counts to be specific. So let me give you those counts right now. The first is a conspiracy to defraud the United States by using dishonesty, fraud, and deceit to obstruct the nation's process of collecting, counting, and certifying the results of the presidential election. And that is according to the Special Counsel's office. This count carries a 5-year maximum sentence, although I don't think anyone should get their hopes up in regard to Trump ever seeing the inside of a prison cell. There's more though. He has also been charged with a conspiracy to impede the January 6th congressional proceeding at which the collected results of the presidential election are counted and certified. This count carries a 20-year maximum sentence. Also, a conspiracy against the right to vote and to have that vote counted. This count carries a 10-year maximum sentence. And finally, the last count, obstruction of and attempt to obstruct and impede the certification of the electoral vote. This count carries a 20-year maximum sentence. Now, there are other interesting elements of the indictment, the filing, because in that indictment, we're also learning that there are 6 unnamed and unindicted co-conspirators. So we'll find out who those individuals are. I would be shocked if Trump's campaign lawyers, people like Rudy Giuliani, weren't facing some charges in the future. We'll see how that all plays out. But Trump is expected to be arraigned tomorrow, which is Thursday, August 3rd. The judge overseeing the case is US District Judge Tanya Chutkan, who is an Obama appointee. And the White House so far has completely declined to comment on this case. But I will say the fake elector scheme, there's a lot of evidence behind that. So that is not gonna bode well for Trump in terms of this prosecution. The other thing that I think is important to remind you all of is, while he had the fake elector scheme playing out, he was also hitting up secretaries of state to encourage them to essentially find votes to flip the state from voting for Biden to supporting Trump. In fact, here is the piece of evidence that we show you on this show quite often. Here is Trump calling Brad Raffensperger in Georgia, the Secretary of State, in order to, find some votes and help Trump out.
So look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
So we'll see how this all goes. Trump has mounting legal problems. Again, this is now the 3rd indictment, and this is happening in conjunction with the Georgia prosecutors who are also investigating Trump and his role in attempting to overturn their state's election results from Biden to Trump. Now, under the first count of conspiracy to defraud the United States, federal prosecutors argue that once violence began at the Capitol on January 6th, Trump only inflamed the situation. And we know without a shadow of a doubt that he took a while to actually intervene and try to calm the situation down. He didn't want to do it. He enjoyed watching the chaos as it ensued. The indictment says that Trump continued to blast out claims of election fraud after the riot began unfolding. As violence ensued, the defendant and co-conspirators exploited the disruption by redoubling efforts to levy false claims of election fraud and convince members of Congress to further delay the certification based on those claims, prosecutors wrote in the indictment. And so this story literally just broke. It is developing as we speak. Reporters are pouring through the 45-page indictment to figure out exactly what this means and what it entails, not only for Trump, but those around him who repeated the election lies, who engaged in this fake elector scheme. And what's incredible about all of this is, even if he is indicted, prosecuted, and convicted of these crimes, his base is not gonna be convinced that he engaged in any wrongdoing. That is the frustrating part about all of this. There's about a third of the Republican base that is incredibly loyal to Trump. They will support him no matter what. And in fact, when you listen to the way the right-wing side of our media covers these types of stories, they tend to downplay it while simultaneously making a pretty big deal about Hunter Biden and the alleged schemes that he was involved in, right? But his alleged schemes really have nothing to do with trying to undercut our democratic process. Hunter Biden isn't even a member of our government. He isn't serving in the White House. Unlike Trump having his children serve as advisors, Hunter Biden is not an advisor to Joe Biden. And so far, the Republican Party has failed to show a shred of evidence of Joe Biden engaged in any criminality or wrongdoing as it pertains to Hunter Biden and his, foreign dealings. We'll get to that story a little later on the show. But this is what we know so far based on the reporting on this indictment. Remember that Trump had received word weeks ago indicating that he was the target of this investigation. He knew that the indictment was gonna come any day now, and today is that day. So we will fill you all in as we learn more about this story, but not looking good for Trump, and certainly not great for his campaign finances, considering they've already spent tens of millions of dollars on defending Trump when it comes to all these various investigations and indictments. So we'll fill you in as we learn more.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.